I think sex and relationship are another, useful thing that have brought up increased well-being about 30%. And so, exploring that, John Gottman has some good work on the science of relationship. Stephen Covey has touched on that a little bit. Passionate Marriage by David Schnarch covers that somewhat. Open relationship has worked for me, sometimes better than monogamy, sometimes less better than monogamy, as long as it's a conscious, agreed upon framework. And I would also say travel is another thing. And I'll just complete the psychedelic thing. I would say that microdosing, particularly if you're depressed, microdosing psilocybin, dealing with trauma and PTSD is a huge avenue of growth. And so I would start with the book, The Body Keeps the Score. That's another thread here. Understanding PTSD and trauma, start with The Body Keeps the Score. See where that leads you. Traveling, as an American going to Thailand, such a different culture. Of all the places I've traveled, my happiness rises 300% when I'm in Thailand. 300%. The freedom, the warmth, the femininity, the smiles, the courtesy, the spaciousness. It's beautiful, the beautiful temples. It's stunning. So travel enough to go to a place that brings you joy and understand and let that teach you about yourself. You don't have to spend all your time there, but it's not a bad idea either. Find a place that nurtures who you want to become. Spend a little time there, at least a month, at least 6 weeks, so that you can get to know the you would become in that environment. With psychedelics, study it, I'd say at least 30 hours. Learn what can go wrong before you get enthused with the hype, right? Because you got two things. You've got the government basically saying this is useless, it's criminal, it's horrible, it'll fry your brain. And then the counterbalance to that lie is these are the second coming. If everyone would just take psychedelics, the world would be transformed. They're both lies, right? Like everything, there's a cost and there's a benefit. You need to understand it. It's good to understand the real risks, not the government bullshit, but the real risks of navigating that. And YouTube isn't a bad place to look at risks. Just look bad trips and study those, and then look at the way to create an optimal experience, right? And then microdosing is, microdosing, you can grow your own mushrooms from spores, for example. And just take 0.5 grams, a sub-psychedelic, take a tiny amount and just notice what it has when you have a day to yourself. Just notice, get to know the territory. So I find that microdosing, anytime I'm in a mental loop of some kind that isn't healthy and I need a little bit of something to help break the loop, a microdose, 0.5 grams. Is plenty, right? It can be 0.25 grams, right? Can be enough. Similarly, microdosing marijuana chocolate, 0.3 milligrams. Plenty, to just create a slightly altered state. Now you've got two perspectives, right? And it's generally a positive and nourishing experience. And waking up the next day, I often remember dreams more clearly. So I think that if you have not explored it, definitely explore the psychedelic terrain gently. I think it's safer to focus on plant-based compounds because they've both evolved out of the same ecology. They're not synthetic. So mushrooms, completely, compatible. The original strains of marijuana type thing, very compatible with the body. often a lot healthier than alcohol, for example, but alcohol is also, plant-based alcohol is, very natural with the body. I've never enjoyed the effects of alcohol, so I've never been drunk and don't enjoy the, more than half a glass of wine. But, these are threads, have relationships with people in different cultures. Travel inward, meditation, travel outward. And I think that working steadily around the wheel here is a great recipe for a beautiful life. I'd love to hear the things that you have done that have either benefited you more than some of the things that I've talked about, or that haven't been covered. Right now, diet is another thing. We could mention that. I try to eat all organic. That's part of ecological sustainability, also physical health sustainability. I think that organic food is probably healthier on balance than food with lots of chemicals in it, for me and the animals and the planet. So I eat an all-organic lifestyle when possible, but I'm no longer a purist, meaning if I see a delicious restaurant, I'm not going to say, oh, that's not organic, I'm not going to eat it, even though I'm hungry, right? And I'm not near my kitchen. So I will buy all organic anywhere that I can. I will eat out organic when I can find delicious places to do that. I'll have organic stuff shipped to me. That because it's not always available at the local health food store. And I love cooking. And so that's a source of nourishment and inventing recipes. And so that, fresh squeezed organic orange juice, the best thing I could possibly drink today. And that's what I drank today, and I'll have another cup after this video. I love really, really beautiful, delicious food. And organic is just the principle of sustainability. So that's it. And thank you for your attention. And I'd love to hear also if you did something of this list that you hadn't done before, and if it worked or didn't work, and why you think that is. Like what worked and what didn't work, and why, right? And how do you adapt it, right? Because we're all very unique, and yet we all have the same goal. We all want to feel sustainably better. We all want to avoid feeling chronically worse.